Well, hello, this is Gmodism Total Nerdy channel, and we are back in StarMade, and I just want to make a little very simple-ish tutorial and tell you some tips about when you'll make your train or tram systems, and basically what I learned from building this one, which I'm building now. So the first thing you want to think about is that making your train or tram system in one dimension, in let's see here, in 2 dimensions basically, so that the y dimension, which is this dimension in this game, is only 1 block high. Because if you want to make your train go up a few blocks and then down, it's very hard. And simply, if you're not a rail pro, I wouldn't go into that. So it's really a recommendation building it in 1 y dimension, because otherwise it will be really hard and it won't look that great. It's possible, but you really have to make it it will be weird and clunky, and it will not look like a normal train or tram. So I will call this the monorail, and the monorail goes through this city on different points here, just like that, you know, all around like this. And you can see here that some of these are misplaced, because the second thing I want to talk about is placement of the turning block. If you want to have a train that turns at the corners, you'll need to press the blocks, place the blocks with the arrows to the direction you want to turn. I don't know why it is this way. It's really weird and it's kind of stupid, but this is how it works. If I want to turn this way, I need to make it point this way. If this one points forward like this, it will actually just stop. It won't continue going here. So you need to, you know, from the direction you come, you want the arrows pointing to the direction you want to turn. And if you want to keep the train in the direction that the front is forward, you of course want this arrow to be into the corner here. So you can just look at the arrows so you know the way they turn. And of course, placing this block here with the 1 arrow there, it would be very weird. So of course we can't do that, or we can do that. If you want a train moving in special directions, or if you want something, you know, backing into somewhere, you can do that. I'll fix the rest of those later on. The one more thing you would like to keep in mind is, for example, we just spawn a little example train so along here. So you want to keep in mind that your train will be, okay, you know, it will stick out and it will turn, and you can't have several carts in an easy way. It's possible to put several rails after another, and it kind of will look okay. They might bump a little bit into each other, but you can make several trains, but it's prone to lag, and it's possible that some lag will cause them end up at different distances to in different points of time. So it's easiest if you make 1 cart kind of, and keep in mind that this one will, you know, turn at the corners, so you will need enough space to let it spin around. Also, you can see by the movement at the corners that it doesn't really exactly turn on spot. it actually kind of, I don't know how much optical this is. There is some, you know, movement of making things be not perfect but still work, but sometimes it's more picky, so you have to look out for that, basically. One more thing you might want to do is you want to have it in different speeds. So let's drag down a rail speed controller and some activation modules right there. So if, say, I'd like my train to go faster, I'll spawn a rail speed controller down here and chop up a few activation gates that we connect to it so we can control speed. Then we control the whole thing, and we basically connect up all the blocks, whoops, like that. And if we turn it like this, you know, if 1 is on, it will be really slow. If 2 is on, it will be faster. And if all is on, can be one module, it will be really fast. And this, of course, is only valid for the amounts of for each segment. So you have to connect up segments and actually even whoops, when it turns around like this, let us connect up this one as well. So you can see it's pretty fast now, but yeah, so it comes here and we got the fast turn basically. There are a bit advantages and advantages with having a fast rail system. If you have a slow rail system, it will take longer to get from point A to from point B, but then you might also want to ask yourself, how much will you use your rail system? If you won't physically be riding it very often, you can keep it at default speed or a slightly slower speed, and at that point you'll just basically let it run so that people will get on the trains while they're moving slowly, just like in certain, you know, what to say, fun rides or so. Or you could even use the speed controller like this, you know, and we basically have, you know, fast module, so we activate it and we basically, you know, keep it fast, but on stations like this, so we basically, here, we keep it fast until there, so you can see it's going around and it's turning, and then it's slowing down when it's passing the station. That's also one way to do it. So you can play around with different things. You can also make it go super slow when entering the stations by using a speed rail controller with several activation gates and only one active. So it will go super slow around the station. You can also make it stop by a station, but that is less simple. What you could in that case do is doing auto stop mechanism. I can just showcase because this is how we do elevators. Basically, we have, you can see, we have a button behind the rail which is activated when the rail goes there, and that button is getting triggered by this one, which is turned sideways, which will make the elevator stop. This means you will manually need to make the elevator move again. So if we see here, and the elevator comes down, and you can see now that rails is sideways because it got activated and turned sideways. But then you need to automatically make it activate after a few seconds, or you need to make it, move again manually, which is also an option. Well, I guess that is basically that. To make a sequenced start and stop sequence, let's make one. I don't know where the tram is now, probably stuck somewhere, maybe, but let's see here. I don't know if you need that, but we can make one just for the sake of it. So, for example, when the train stops there, it will activate a rail that goes sideways, and we need, of course, to place it there. I just wanted to show the direction, and that rail will activate this rail. So it will basically turn sideways when something goes over it. This also means that when this has been triggered, now let's find some logic. We will connect that to a delay sequence. No, that's a flip-flop. Delay sequence. And connect that to a new one. So we have 3 delay blocks here, and that in turn will activate a I need a button again. Will in turn activate a button like that, and the button will activate that rail, and that rail will be going forwards by placing the rail. We don't need to connect that, by placing the rail sideways there. Let's just spawn a new little create docking here like this, just to show you its features basically. Okay, and spawned, and it comes here. Now let's see if everything works, which is, you never know before you test. And what? And that's sad. That's problematic. So okay, so it didn't activate, which is weird. And of course I think I found a problem, so we don't want to connect up that one. Instead we want to connect the next one, so it stops at the next one, because otherwise it won't have time to act naturally. So we'll just hope that that was that and try again. If not, then I have a problem. Okay. And it activates and it doesn't work. Okay, that's problematic. Oh yeah, I forgot the little part here, you see. When we place this under, it won't actually work, because if it would be very confused with the rail above. So you need to place it on any side. So you need to place this one on the any side of the activation module or button, which was the problem. I guess it was a time ago I built this type of system before, so I just forgot it. Much to think of, but now it should work. So it just turns there, it comes there, and this one is set up to change this one and this one as well. So and halt, and then it continues. Okay, so the distance was a little bit short. I just added some more delays here. Whoops. And there we go. Oh, whatever. Just like that. And it will come in here. So we have the double delay now. And it goes through the cycle and continues. And of course you can make the stop cycle as long as you wish. I think for my system I will just make it go slowly through the city without no changes. Probably the simplest solution, but as you know, the most simple solution is the solution that fucks up the least, which is nice. Here we can see a nice example of failed attempts, so we will of course need to replace that one. And whoops, oh no. Oops, we need to tell Xauber later he's on. Anyways, I hope that may have been able to guide you a little bit. So basically, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be catching you in a future episode. This is Gmodism, total Monorail channel with a with a few simple tips basically. So anyways, see you around. Gmodism signing out.